So since I'm fresh after this meeting with the teacher who is the closest to what I call energy reading, she calls it field reading, and she calls or replaces the word constellation with field therapy. So she gives a definition of field reading or energy reading as recognizing or learning to see these invisible energy or energetic connections between people and objects, people and places, people and spirits, everything, in between everything, absolutely these days. And it also implies your ability not just to see what's going on this invisible level, but also connect with the truth, because that is the truth. And as I mentioned in my previous message, we all have this inability to read what's happening on that subtle level, but not always we pay attention. And what's the hardest part, not always we are ready to reconcile ourselves with the truth that we see. And the key there is probably, again, our childhood, where we were unable simply to communicate. It could be pre-verbal. You still sense, but you can't speak. You can't analyze. And even later, we could speak. We could understand what it was, but we were not welcome to share it with others because they were hiding it from themselves. So this is exactly about the suppressed material that we all carry, our shadows that we all carry. So when somebody asks, why should I go? What's the benefit of energy reading? How does it work? It works in the following way. It's very simple, honestly. It's a high quality attention of the reader, of the facilitator, usually hits the very core or the most energy consuming distortion or part of your shadow. And if this is a group, then the group attention has even more capacity, more power to hit and break that fence behind which you are hiding all your suppressed stuff. So it will simply smash the fence and let all the stuff come out if you can handle it. And that's the task again of the therapist, to help you hold it together and receive it. So basically, it's my attention at work, group's attention at work, and my capacity to receive what was suppressed in you. And thus I help you receive it and transmit it and release it. And in classical trauma therapy, this is when all this charge, energetic, emotional, painful charge leaves you. Yes, the events, the facts of your life will not change. They'll stay with you, but they'll be discharged. And just attention itself, as it touches and brings the light on what was hidden, what was dark, it is healing in itself, because it simply cannot stay the same. Following the logic of quantum physics, when we start observing, we influence the observed. So what once became conscious can't become unconscious again, right? You can't shove it back and say, oh, no, I haven't seen it, I haven't known it, I haven't acknowledged it. So this is exactly this process of clearing the closets of your subconscious. In the energy language, you can also say clearing the content, the clogged content of your etheric and astral bodies, or your memories, however you call it. I mean, it doesn't really make a huge difference, because essentially we discharge something that's not helping us, something that consumes lots and lots of our energy resources, and something that usually distorts our life, our perception of other people, relationships with them, situations, because of that dirt, accumulated garbage that we all carry. And so the more we clear, the more capacity we have to channel more life energy through ourselves. And that means more things, good things, can now come to our life that better suit us, better suit the present time context of our lives and our true nature of who we are. But again, the very secret is not in words, though the words that therapists use, they actually help to seal the process that already happened. And the qualification of the therapist is in knowing these passages, or knowing the places, and show these places where the answers come from, where the solutions lie, and then show these places where the healing may happen. So I hope this was a good little note on how energy reading works. And she also said that, like in a constellation format or field therapy format, when someone comes and voices the request, the words could be misleading, right? The words, it's just this mental gibberish. But what we'll listen for this deeper inner request. I may call it soul request, or your spirit request, to discharge that heaviest burden that you are carrying. Or release some tension that is there, that you don't have the capacity to no longer carry, and you don't have the capacity to release yourself. And the change, the shift itself happens, sometimes it starts even before the work itself, at the moment when you make commitment to come for the session, I know it myself because I've done it. And sometimes most of the work, actually all the work, happens in a few seconds when the therapist and the client, they make this dyad, or simply therapist connects and attunes, lies this energy path, shines the light, attention of one's light into the client, and shows the path for this material to drop off, to be discharged. So it just kind of sinks there or slips through, because that's the job of a good therapist or a good reader, to provide a space for that. And then what happens after this actual constellation or play with either figurines or little felts or little objects, if this is one-on-one, or through representatives in the group, it's more like a ritual of kind of deciphering it, or rediscovering or actualizing it in form, so we can better assimilate and integrate this change. And then when we use healing words or permission phrases, what I see, it's just a seal or explanation for our mental realm, from our mental body, because that sometimes needs some explanation. You know, we love explanations. We have attached to words so much. So for this part of ourselves, for the conscious mind, to seal the change, we voice these phrases of what actually has happened or what is still happening. We voice the truth, and the truth is always healing. And then we also run a quick test, because when we voice it right, with the truth comes out resonance. So if we feel the resonance in the body with the wording, when we feel the relief, when we feel the shift of energy, and sometimes, I said it already, sometimes it's just such a huge pile, it's a wall. So if you take one little sand speck out of that wall that, you know, was being built for years and years, and maybe a few generations of your ancestors, it's a huge shift, however small it may look like. And you may not feel it immediately. Usually, you definitely feel the change. You definitely feel this melting or sweating, dynamics change inside. It's no longer frozen. It's no longer stale. That the energy whirlpool that was there, this was encapsulated, these trapped, undigested emotions, they're being released back to the flow of life. We feel these subtle changes. Sometimes we block them. We're too scared to look. Sometimes we see the result in 6 months. Sometimes we can feel fully the result in a couple of years. Sometimes we just peel, say, the first layer out of this encapsulated onion, and then there will be some other process, some other initiation, some other constellation, or whatever else you might do, when another layer will peel off and another layer will peel off. So it's never can be looked at as a checklist where you say, problem solved, tick the box, tick the box, tick the box, all problems solved. When you believe that all problems are solved, you have nothing to do on earth anymore in this realm. It's a journey, and you'd rather enjoy this journey, and it's a journey of self-exploration, the journey of healing, and the journey of transformation and growth, evolution.